Hello, my friends. Today, despite quite active fighting along the entire front line, we see that the Russians cannot achieve success. This is also acknowledged by the allies. Neither the Ukrainian Armed Forces nor the Russians can make a quick breakthrough on the front and begin to move forward actively. Therefore, the Russians today continue shelling in large numbers using aviation and artillery. So that's the only thing they can do. Strikes on border villages in the Chernihiv, Sumy and Kharkiv regions continue. And due to this, people from many populated areas had to be evacuated as villages are being leveled to the ground. So in this way, they are trying to create a buffer zone, as Shoigu stated. It's also reported that Russian aircraft are launching guided bombs towards Vovchansk. However, Belgorod also remains under fire, and yesterday evening there was panic there.
Our air defense system worked over Belgorod and the Belgorod district. 16 air targets were shot down on approach to the city. According to preliminary information, there are no casualties. In the city of Belgorod, as a result of an air attack by the armed forces of Ukraine, windows were broken in 26 apartments in 12 apartment buildings. There is damage in healthcare institutions. Windows were broken in polyclinics number 7 and number 8. Windows in the warehouse building of the Children's Regional Clinical Hospital were also damaged. Shrapnel from shells shattered windows and cut facades in 4 educational institutions: kindergarten number 19, kindergarten number 72, a private kindergarten in school number 40. At the moment, damage has been identified in 8 cars, 2 of which burned down completely.
Next, let's move on to the situation along the front line, starting with the direction of Kupiansk. Here, the Russians continue shelling both Zelenskyi and in the area of Ivanivka and Kislivka, where they failed to break through days ago. So for the second day in a row, a large number of strikes are being recorded to pound the positions of the Ukrainian Armed Forces into the ground and once again attempt to advance. So far, no attacks have been recorded in the past day and the front line remains unchanged. In the area of Svatove, shelling is also reported near Berestove and Novoyegorivka. Additionally, Russian aircraft are launching guided bombs towards Izum. So it's evident that the Russians are utilizing their aviation assets to the fullest. So they have both planes and bombs at their disposal, despite occasional interceptions by the Ukrainian Armed Forces. In the direction of Crimea, fighting is ongoing in the area of the village of Terny, and intensified shelling continues in this area. However, as before, the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully hold their defense and the front line remains unchanged. In the Siversk direction, the occupiers have still failed to make any gains near Belgorivka and Vasala, so the front line remains unchanged. The Ukrainian Armed Forces are repelling all advancing enemy formations, and today only shelling is reported. In the direction of Bakhmut, the occupiers continue to storm Ivanivsky, and today there is a battle reported in Andriivka. 4 attacks have been recorded here, but there are no changes along the front line. The Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully repel all attacks and prevent the Russians from breaking through closer to Chasiv Yar. In the Avdiivka direction, 9 attacks have been recorded, confirming that the occupiers have broken into Semenivka, where battles are taking place. Additionally, there are ongoing assaults on Berdichi, but so far the front line remains unchanged. The Ukrainian Armed Forces are doing everything possible to maintain defense. Further south, fighting is occurring in the area of Nevelsky, but the Russians, as before, are unsuccessful and the front line remains unchanged. In the direction of Marinka, the activity is highest, with again about 20 attacks per day. There are battles in the areas of Georgiivka and Novomikhailivka. Moreover, in Georgiivka, they are breaking through from two sides, complicating the defense of the village. So the shelling has also increased. The occupiers are attempting to strike in the rear and are leveling all villages along the front line. But despite this, the front line remains unchanged for the day. In the direction of Vuhledar, the occupiers also continue shelling and intensifying battles are taking place in the area of Tromayorsky. So here, the occupiers are trying to break through from both sides as close as possible to the village. But the Ukrainian Armed Forces successfully destroy all advancing groups, and the front line remains unchanged for the day. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, battles are ongoing for Robotyne, while in the area of Verbove, all attacks have ceased. So it's evident that the Ukrainian Armed Forces are successfully holding the defense, and the Russians cannot actively advance in this section of the front. Moreover, shelling continues both along the front line and in the rear, with Chernihiv being heavily shelled. In the Kherson direction, shelling of the right bank continues. However, no new attacks on the village of Krinky have been recorded, and the front line remains unchanged as before. Similarly, while Russia fully blames Ukraine for what happened in Crocus in Moscow, US State Department spokesman Matthew Miller said that Ukraine has no connection to what happened there.
And Putin's ambassador to Washington has denied the fact that the U.S. has tipped off prior to the attack. Can you just walk us through some of the?
I'm sorry. What was the?
There was a tip-off from the U.S. He denied that there was any tip-off from Washington. Can you just walk us through some of your communications with the Russians in the run-up to last Friday? And what do you know? When did you know it? And how did you communicate?
So, two things with respect to the first question. There was no Ukrainian involvement, period. You've seen the Ukrainian government make that clear, and of course, with respect to these statements, the Russians have offered zero evidence because there is no evidence of Ukrainian involvement. With respect.
Meanwhile, Zelenskyy visited the defense lines and personally checked on the progress of construction.
During a working visit to Sumy region on March 27, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy got acquainted with the construction of fortifications near the city of Sumy. This was reported by the press center of the presidential administration. The construction of fortifications continues in Sumy region. I inspected trenches, dugouts, firing and command and observation posts. We are strengthening our defense. I thank everyone involved in this work, Zelenskyy wrote in X, posting relevant photos and videos. The president was told about a typical project for the construction of a platoon stronghold, the presidential administration emphasized. It provides, in particular, for the presence of reinforced concrete structures, firing positions for tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, corrugated steel shelters, the statement said. Zelenskyy arrived in Sumy region on March 27. The head of state visited the hospital for wounded soldiers and the location of the 117th Separate Territorial Defense Brigade. In February and March 2024, the Russians significantly increased the intensity of their attacks on Sumy region. In 2 days, the region recorded a 6-month norm of explosions after attacks by the aggressor country, Russia, the JMA reported on March 14. Its head, Volodymyr Artyuk, said on March 18 that there was no risk of a border breakthrough in Sumy region, where the number of attacks by the Russian occupiers had increased.
And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.